It's great to have you all back. It's the American Aces AFL show. It's Daisy Thomas, Mitchie Wallace and Tommy Sheridan coming to you every single week with an AFL show. We have Cyclone Alfred on our doorstep trying to interrupt opening round, but we've still got 2 more games upon us. The footy is finally back. Boys, great to see you.
There you go. There's some energy. Wow. Cyclonic energy.
Yeah, just spat it out. The old, I almost said Prince Alfred. But
did you tell listeners that it took you 6 goes to get that out?
It's 2 goes. I got 12 goes last night with TFG Tuesdays. Speaking of, that was a nice little debut there for the American Aces. But boys, it's all about you. What have you been up to?
What was that? I missed.
TFG Tuesdays. Toby Green every Tuesday night coming podcast to us almost live. He'll record and we'll turn it around on a Tuesday night every week. Did you tune in last night, Daisy?
No, I was at the basketball.
He broke the news for us about Jesse Hogan's thumb. There's a lot of talk around how it was all made up.
Yeah.
And he said, no, it was done on the bus. He slammed the door and squeezed his thumb.
Snapped it.
Yes, clean break. They got the scan on Saturday and confirmed. He goes, I got the call this week. They couldn't believe it. So... And Jesse actually even commented on the post saying, I think that we'll get it up in a second.
Over the journey, have you come across any?
Yeah, I had one with Falls Festival. Zach Clark hammered.
Let me finish the question.
I'm imagining this is the question. You're talking about an injury that
you are on today. You go.
Well, I thought you were going to ask an injury where the boys have said that's not what happened. Well, I was picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, no, you were, mate.
I went to Falls Festival with Zach Clark, right? You know, and the footy club was strict on how many nights you drink, and we had all this responsibility chats, alcohol, all the rest of it, and you had to pick your nights on the piss, all that kind of stuff. So we've come back, and Zach Clark's torn one of the ligaments in his knee. It wasn't the ACL, but it was really bad. And I was with him, and he literally did it trying to tackle me on the hill, and everyone was like, that is the worst excuse I've ever heard. And that's literally what happened. He just tried to tackle me and he twisted his knee trying to tackle me, and that was it. And everyone all year was like, come on, man, just tell us what actually happened. That's what happened.
It's probably a good thing it was on the team bus, because otherwise it sounds like bullshit.
Yeah.
And
you'd seen through quite quickly.
You'd think that he would, if you break your thumb, it'd hurt a bit, wouldn't it?
Depends how tough you are.
Maybe I'm a big bastard.
Oh, do you try and hide it because shit, that hurt, but I've got to play.
Slamming your thumb in anything, like any door, like
the phalanges, any phalange.
I'll get the comment up because
he's the boss of the NRL, isn't he? Peter Phalanges.
I'll get the comment up because it was pretty funny.
No, well, there's another one actually. I remember.
This is Jesse Hogan though. He goes, "Those Murray Charter buses are death traps. Ride with caution." That's sorry to our man Murray Charters, but they are.
We like him. Was that? He's always welcome.
Was that post the injury, or was that after the bus ride?
He commented that last night.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Once the clip went out, on those American Aces. So very good.
I tell you what, every news channel though listens. That one went wild, but then also somebody else has run with my Gold Coast theory throughout the week.
You weren't happy with that, were you?
Well, I just,
I think that was Fox Footy. They're a competitor of yours.
Well, they're officially a competitor of everyone's now.
Yeah.
I'd be furious, mate.
Yeah.
I'll be, calling them.
And had a lot, there's a lot, I mean, I looked at the algorithm there and there's a lot to say in the comments. So they really did well with that. We went all right with our viewership on that clip, but I think they got it. So we need to be better.
Maybe they just need to credit me.
Yeah. Well, Gold Coast Suns, we'll talk about them later. But speaking about you, Daisy, just tuned in last night to watch one of the greatest NBL finals you'll see. The game was unbelievable. We'll talk about that another day, but I couldn't.
Will we?
Yeah, we will. But I couldn't get my eyes off the man courtside. Just you doing it. You got that much airtime with that white cap, the gather round cap. I could not stop looking at you. And I even saw you with about a minute and a half to go. Goulding comes over and you're giving him a serve. I think you were telling him what play to run. And in the end, he ran it and they scored. That was what happened there. Was there anyone, getting into you on the bench?
Well, so the guy I was sitting next to, Matty Butcher, used to be a housemate of mine. He cooked for the team. He's a chef. He's cooked for everyone.
What a name, Butcher.
Yeah, the Mercedes team when the F1s are in town, all that sort of jazz. So he's got the 4 seats. And those were the same seats, if you remember, throughout the year when there was that little scuffle and the fans got booted. He wasn't there. So anyway, so he's like, make sure you're on your best behaviour.
Because you're in view.
Very bloody hard to be on your best behaviour when you're cheering for United and the Perth coach is in front of you. One of their assistants looks like Jimmy Plunkett. His little stocky redhead kid. Mate, find that. Jimmy, I was rinsing this bloke. Oh, shut up, Jimmy! Jimmy! Wrong call, get Cotton off. He's rooted.
Big shout out to Nick Trilson. He was operations manager Bulldogs, and he's now the CEO of United. They're taking them to another final.
So he's taking the credit, is he?
Yeah, oh mate,
he's full credit.
Give him silver spoon. Just make sure
working real hard in the
He was good in the fourth quarter.
It wasn't the 9.
Trilson just going quick end to
end. It wasn't Goulding 9 from 12 on the 3-point line.
Right. Superman dive up 1 and 3 at the other. Trillo, what a man.
No, I'm more, but it was a spectacle, and he's played a big role. Yes. I'm reversing up a bit here, but he's put on a show every time you go to that arena. They put on a show. The fans love it, and it's copped a lot of attention.
Was the game one of the best ever? Because that's the first one I've been to.
Mate, you've been kissed on the old fella. Yeah, right. That was as good as it. I couldn't believe Perth got back to level.
Yeah.
And then that last play with 2 seconds to go. And, mate, Goulding, the way he was shooting with blokes, like, contested.
Yeah.
And he could not miss.
Couldn't miss.
And he's already hit 6. So it's like he's getting double. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. But, yeah, then I just saw you courtside, and it was fantastic. Well, what about you with family and friends? As I said, that skit video, gents, last week. Our man Benny the Butler just didn't he nail it? But yeah, round of applause.
Well done to everyone.
Brado for the editing and everyone that commented. We love the support. It was awesome. But I thought, geez, you would have copped it.
You texted me 3 or 4 times saying, has Wal seen? You seen it? Yeah. And I must admit, my wife still hasn't looked at it. She's too embarrassed to watch it.
She's in for a treat then.
I'll throw Emily under bus there. But, look, they said, yeah, you're really bought into it, but there's something to live up to now.
You really bought into it?
I bought into it, or you were just acting normal, I'm not sure. But
did you enjoy the role?
Oh, look, it did come a bit naturally. But, look, I enjoyed being on a yacht. And you boys played your role as well. I just want to get back on there.
Yeah, 60,000 views and a lot of comments. But what I loved was the reference. There was someone that commented, I think it was Dope from 100K, and he mentioned Carter Verone. I don't know if you've watched Too Fast, Too Furious, the real rich guy that operates the whole setup.
Oh, wow.
He reckons it's a lookalike. Yeah. So we might have another nickname, old Carter over there.
It was Muskie last week, Carter this week.
I thought that was outstanding. So that was really good. And also, Daisy, while I'm on it, but we've got some real positive feedback for you.
Right.
And rightly so, mate. I'll get it up. But we have Captain's Day, and they all had to answer who's their favourite commentator. And the results have come through to my phone, and they've answered. And this is the poll. In first place, we have Bruce McEnany.
Who?
McEnany.
Start again. McEnany.
No, leave that in.
That's me, mate, Benny McEnany. I was talking to him before we got out. Cut that out, Brado. Actually, leave it in. Benny will love it from Gold Coast. He's under the pump at the moment, Benny. So he might enjoy that. Make him laugh. Benny McEnany. Brucey McEnany. How's the disrespect for me to one of the greatest?
Bruce. I was going to say he's one of the greatest to do it.
Bruce McEnany at number 1. There we go.
Well done.
And in 2, our man Daisy Thomas. In 2, second.
Is this a piss taker?
No, it's not. Bruce got 6 votes, you got 2, and everyone else got 1. So
I'll take it.
You get the second spot, which is pretty cool considering some of the names.
Should we go through his agenda of what he's doing week by week?
Well, these are the other names though. Well, we've got Alistair Nicholson, Matthew Richardson, Brad Johnson. We've got Jordan Lewis, Hutto, BT, Brayshaw, Hamish McLaughlin, and Matt Hill. I mean, there's some outstanding commentators. So to be number 2 already, well done.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We're actually quite lucky to have you. I might have to fill that briefcase up soon at the end of the year. I need those boys to just maybe say 1 next year, but well done, mate. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And one more that I can't really, we can't use the photo for this, but I've got strong male voice, and he plays AFL, this bloke, but he's just got custom number plates created, and they read Puch.
A current AFL
It's player. A current player, and he has number plates that have been custom made.
PEWTCH.
Exactly how we like it. Exactly how
we got to get our hands on them.
I've got a photo of the plates, but it's I don't think I can use it because it was from a group chat. But there's a player out there running around with the number plates Puch.
Do we know what's on the inside of the plates? What's the car that he's rolling around in? Is that?
I don't know what car it is. I don't know what car it is.
Trav Cloak. He rocked up with the Hummer with the plates Hum Dis. HUMT.
Wow, that's man as well.
That's outstanding.
Good work.
Oh, very good. Anything else for me, boys?
Not really. Oh, Daisy news.
Oh, yeah.
Positive news.
Done there. Roll the latest news. It's big news as well.
Massive news.
Not just Daisy, but yourself. You boys are on fire, but congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Little baby expected August. Similar time.
Yeah, we're August as well. So we're expecting our 3rd.
Congratulations, boys, to you and your families. That's awesome news. And it was good to see the videos and whatnot online. So well done. change of little scenery here from babies to Osmerican Aces housekeeping. Straight into the tipping. I'm sorry, boys. It's up and down like my career. 1 minute 20, 1 minute in the waffle. So let's get into the 20 and one on the wing every time.
You posted your first goal the other day.
Yeah, that was me last, I think. I guess Geelong straight through the diddle, that one. Didn't miss many, but anyway, enough about me. I'm the host. Osmerican Aces housekeeping. This is important, boys. I need to ensure everyone listening and watching, you need to get onto Osmerican Aces social media, hit that link tree, and we have some important information. I don't want you to miss out. We have our AFL and NRL tipping competition. Please join it. We're going to have amazing prizes at the end of the year. We're going to reference this weekly. And we already have 800 people in the AFL one. So if you can get to that, we get it to 1,000, I can absolutely guarantee we have a treat there at the top at the end of the year. And we're also setting up our first ever Supercoach League, which I haven't played since I was probably in primary school or high school. But I've got some support behind me. I don't know if you boys have played it lately, but it'd be good to just get the Supercoach out there, see how many people think they can get it done. And we'll also have a prize for the Supercoach winner at the end of the year. Have you played Supercoach?
Nah, not sort of. I've done it before, but I'm a set and forget type of guy. I don't get right into it. It's too bloody hard.
It is a bit hard. I tried my luck with NBA fantasy. Okay. That Supercoach.
I retract that. It's bloody easy. Make sure you get on and you get amongst it.
I want a promotion.
God.
Yeah. Nah.
Oh, there you go. We'll leave that in as well because at least you know Daisy, you're going to beat Daisy and it's going to be good prizes. There might not be many people in there, but just jump in there. We're giving it a go this
easy.
year.
It's good. I'll do my own team. You know what? I'm on board. I'm so far on board. If you beat me, well, no, if I beat you, you owe me a prize.
Yeah, I like that as well. I like that. So head online to our link tree at Osmerican Aces and just sign up. And there's a few other surprises in there, but we'll get to them at the end. Righto, boys, we're getting close to footy chat, but it's latest news, and I will start with injuries. We've already touched on Hogan. Our man Toby Green on TFG Tuesdays broke that last night. Postponed games. This Cyclone Alfred is on the way. But just on that, I spoke to one of the Lions boys last night. There's genuine concerns they're going to lose their houses. They're saying the wind is going to take the roofs off a lot of houses. They're running out of sandbags. They reckon they can't even get their hand on sandbags to just put around their house. This is quite scary, actually.
It is. And I saw Lachie Neale made a comment that if they were going to push through with the game, that he was going to stay home with his wife and his kids. So, look, there's more at stake than just a football game. And at the end of the day, we're down in Melbourne, but we are feeling the effects of family and friends that are in that precincts with, Brisbane, Gold Coast, even all the way up to the Sunshine Coast. It's touch and go, and people have been warned, but now it's about taking action to prevent, any casualties.
Yeah, it's a right call by the AFL by a mile, and I think they sort of would have done it earlier. They had to wait for directive from the government, and then as soon as that came, it was see you later, put your resources to places they need to be rather than, ambulances at the ground and police officers and whatnot. So fingers crossed everyone up there looks after themselves, stays safe, because it's going to be a testing couple of days, no doubt.
Yeah, it will be. It's going to be crazy, and it's also going to be a tough decision for you as well. While the following week you got your brother's wedding, it's just going to be touch and go. I mean, that must be who makes the call on that?
So it's the call on Monday, and I think by then the cyclone would have cleared out, but then the unknown is the damage and the carnage that's caused. So look, it's fingers crossed it goes ahead, and look, we plan to, but like you said before, the AFL, until a decision is made, I always say don't worry twice. We'll worry when we have to.
Yeah, well said. Well, yeah, fingers crossed to everyone in Queensland. We hope that it's not too bad at all, and we can get.
We'll figure out a way in the aftermath to do something positive.
Yes, we will.
That's a
great call.
We will make.
It's a great call. Righto, some other news. We spoke about our future bets last week. We had to go early. Yep. There's no doubt we're going to have another go at them throughout the first 4 weeks, but. Your Brownlow prediction, I reckon, as we've dropped the podcast, Butters is out for 8 weeks, so that wasn't a great start, was it, Wal?
You are the actual curse.
I am the curse. But off the back of actually some form in the preseason competition, Christian Petrarca is now my bet. He looks fit. Obviously, a little bit of turmoil at the end of last season. Not last season, the off-season, but recommitted in tip-top shape, and I reckon that'll go a long way to Melbourne pushing their chances of playing finals. But I reckon he's primed to have a ripping year, and always votes well. Always gets in the 20s.
Powerful, kicks goals.
So you've tipped Butters, so now Petrarca will be out in round 1 for next 4.
Look, sorry, Christian.
Don't no more Giants or Freo boys, please.
No, but I reckon he'll have a ripping year, and he's my tip.
Love it. Other news, we got the Dogs. Bont went down afterwards. Obviously, this news is not that latest because this has all happened just after last week, but McGovern as well, hammy from the Blues. There was a few other injuries, but some big, and Goulden's ankle. It's a bit big names before opening round. I don't remember a time we lost so many big names in a week.
No, and that brings us, we'll get to that of the actual relevance of a preseason comp, but the Dogs are... They're hurting.
They're barking, aren't they?
Well, yeah.
Yelping.
Yeah, yelping's probably the one, yeah.
That's what I was trying to say, must be.
We normally bark and win when we're happy.
Liam Jones.
Yep.
You've got the Bont through the midfield now. Jamara as well up forward.
Yeah.
Cody Waitman.
Dale's out as well, isn't he?
Dale's a question mark.
Richards is a gun mid as well. He's out.
Yeah, look, there's a question mark on these three lads.
Even with a question mark.
I know. They're going in, and we talk about if you've got a healthy list. I don't think they're very healthy. It's quite obvious, but there's some key pillars of people that you've spoken about that are integral to the way that the Dogs want to play. You take them out, you put young blood in, look, you hope, and you sort of back in the adrenaline of round one and playing and rising to the occasion. But again, it's a hope rather than a certainty of application.
Well said. Well, let's jump straight into the preseason because we really want to dive into these games coming up. It's opening round and footy's back and we're pumped. It's the biggest winners and losers from preseason. I'm going to pepper you both. I'll start with you, Wal, but I want you to give me the biggest winner out of the 2025 preseason in your eyes.
I've got two.
You only want one, mate.
Well, I'm going to start with my biggest and then close second. You got second, mate, in a competition of how good you are.
Tell you what, second's very, very important. We'll allow him two.
But I reckon I said Melbourne to get Clayton back on the park playing the way that he's playing, and then you got Christian Petrarca firing as well, and then they've played some pretty good footy without the 2 weeks of the practice game. So I reckon they're a big winner. They're setting themselves up. There's a fair bit of doubt, and a lot of people have left them out of their 8. So I think it's an extra motivation that they've got a point to prove that they're back and they should be at the top end of the competition. And the second one is Essendon. I looked at the injury list and they've got a pretty healthy list. They're 2 wins. As I said to Melbourne, a lot of people have written them off. Don't reckon they're going to get over 10, 11 wins this year. But as we saw in a couple of previous seasons, they've started the season really well with making those wins, and I reckon they're going to do the same this year.
Love it. Hold your thought on the loser there. Well, I'm going to go to Daisy now with your winners from the preseason.
Chips in, Gold Coast Suns. Push the pile. The Gold Coast Suns have got through a preseason without any injury, really. Their midfield's firing. You can see they've got a real system. They were very good in that 3-way sort of try game they played, and then good against the Swans in their actual official practice match. I just feel their confidence is growing. And as a young side, when you actually get out and you can demonstrate what you've been practicing works from a defensive point of view, their ball movement looks good. I'm getting excited. I don't know if I can get like a 3-park super pass or something just to get on board with the Gold Coast Suns, but it is coming.
I reckon they'll send one down. And I'll tell you what, I don't want one because I did what you did last year and they burnt me all year. So no. I'll let you have that one. But I'm excited for them. There's something happens every year that's just random, right?
Yep.
Now, I'm just going to ask you, do you think the Suns could potentially be a top 4 side?
Yeah, absolutely. If we saw a Hawthorn go from 0-5 with an average losing margin of however many last year, there's no reason with what the Gold Coast list is, who they've got around them now with Dimmer, there's no reason they couldn't be a top 4 side. They'll have to obviously improve on what we've seen, but that should come naturally, and win a couple of games, get a bit plucky late in the season.
I'd love to just, you think of all these massive upsets at the end of the year and you go back to everyone's predictions and we're all way off. Something's going to happen, right? Yeah. And I just feel like North Melbourne, Gold Coast, and Essendon, they're the teams you're looking at going, I wonder if one of you can just pop up and just
surprise everyone.
Yeah, and surprise absolutely everyone and just go crazy early, which is what, Daisy, you have predicted.
How well do the AFL actually want the Gold Coast Suns to go?
They need them to go well.
They need them to go well, but if it's a Gold Coast grand final...
You want them to go out in the prelim, I reckon. Unless they're playing the Pies.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah. Or Carlton or Essendon. That's when it's different. You just don't want to interstate.
But I think the average footy follower will jump on the Gold Coast.
100%. They can easily become.
They could easily become everyone's second favourite team.
Well, with these big teams, like say a Collingwood or Essendon, a lot of people hate them as well, so they're going to jump on the other team.
Yep.
And it'd be exciting to see those colours in finals. Very good. Right, let's get to the losers. Whoa.
Yeah. And losers is plural, so there's more than one. I'll just preface that.
Plural.
Unfortunately, again, my old mob, but the Doggies haven't had a great preset, or to date, haven't got a healthy list. So there's too many key injuries out. Really disappointing from my point of view, because they have got a challenging first 6 rounds. So I think they will feel the effects of how deep is their list. Are those young players that Bevo's going to unearth, are they going to be able to fill the void of some of these players that aren't playing? Look, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that they come through. But there's too many question marks for mine. And then, look, I've got Richmond in there. It's just unfortunate, the amount of bad publicity around what they've got in store for them for the next 6 months. And then to get your number 1 draft pick with a question mark and a broken face in one of the early matches, I just don't think they're in a good spot. Now, hopefully, again, they prove us wrong, but I don't think they're set up to succeed. So there's my biggest losers of the preseason.
Daisy?
The Dogs, unfortunately.
Yep.
Just injury, and also obviously Jamara not being there.
Yep.
Did the numbers. Liam Jones played 21 games last year. Adzi Treloar 23. JJ wasn't constant in the side, but provides a point of difference as a backup. Cody Wakeman played the 17 games, 27 goals. Jamara 22 games, 43 goals. I think we often just forget that that's a bloody good return regardless for a bloke who's been much maligned. And then, of course, the Bont, who's probably the best midfielder in the comp for his size and what he does. So that's your entire spine gone.
Yep.
In a competition that seems to be as even as ever.
It's a real concern to start.
It is concern.
And I'm not just picking on the Bulldogs because I said last year, get your Sharpie out, but I will go back out. I've got a massive Sharpie in my bag and it might not be round 1 yet, but it's getting ready.
I am concerned. It sucks to see teams not healthy. I mean, that list is very good, and if they're all out there, we're talking about probably top 4 with that setup.
And that could be your best players from round 1. Like, that could be that list that's injured. That could be like you said, you talk about your spine, but your most influential players on any given week. So
it probably helps both sides of it. It is the most even competition, so you want to have obviously your best side out there, but also with other sides having some injuries, it's going to be pretty level regardless if you play a better side or not. So if they can pinch some wins early, as you say, that's a tough draw to start off with. But if they can find it, North Melbourne round 1, that should just be penciled in.
Yep.
But if they can find to win a couple of the games against some of the sides who we're tipping, the Blues, the Pies, Freo, Lions, in the next month, pinch 1 or 2 of them, the conversation change with some players getting back. However, it looks unlikely.
Do you think they could? North Melbourne, $3 I think they are at the moment, courtesy of our friends at PointsBet. But I think
to win a game,
to win that game against the Dogs, I think there's something wrong with the odds there. I mean, the Dogs are missing a lot. North's flying. You know how well these teams that have been back since early November. I just can't believe that. I mean, if you looked at the line, you'd be, that's a bit of a juicier one if you're conservative. But the Dogs can't start. I just think that's going to be a great little value play next week.
Yeah, and we've got Caleb Daniel. We had this discussion last week on the pod whether you tag him because he's in right form.
Depends how big your ego is as the head coach. You just cut him.
It'll be a great test. And you talk about the adrenaline around 1 and the build-up, and you sometimes play above your ability because you are running off adrenaline and it's the start to the year. So, look, that can work in your favour and against you because you've come up against a raring North Melbourne. You've every chance to slip up. But conversely, if you start and have a good attitude, Doggies should get the chocolates.
I'm interested to see that one. Righto, well, you've got something for us, and it's a surprise for me and you, Daisy, because I don't know what it is, but I've written it in my run sheet. Well, surprise me.
Yeah. Is it a Tesla each?
It's not.
Rolex?
It might be a rollie.
We'll just on your boat.
I'm going to, a boat. We need we'll get that going again because I really enjoyed that.
He wants to do the podcast on the boat.
That's how much he loves it.
Yeah, he goes, the studio's nice, but I'm very comfortable on the boat.
I'm very comfortable on the boat. No, we'll hold the prizes and the gifts for later in the year. Now, what are you looking forward to? And I was speaking with the old man last night about, when you're surprised by a team because a coach has given a directive to play a certain way.
Yep.
And everyone is walking into that team and going, wow, look at the way they're playing. I want to model, Hawthorn of last year, of Richmond's pressure in the, 2017, 18, 19, the Doggies handball game back in 2015, 16. Who do you reckon, who has the ability this year to surprise the competition and play a way that's going to hold up throughout the year? Now, I know there's a fair few layers to that question, but I'm just looking forward to that surprise packet of us discussing someone around Ted going, check out Freo the way they're playing. But is there someone that you think has the ability and the list and the energy and are in a position to really take the competition by storm?
Freo was the one when you spoke of that because they've played slow and dour You look at their ball movement and what they're trying to do and how they got a couple of those goals in the preseason. That's link up through the guts, kick it out the back to a big pocket of space.
Yep.
That's a point of difference of what we've seen from them in the past. And with some of the talent they've got in, Shea Bolton, that forward line that's pretty stacked with tools as well. I think they're a team, but also North Melbourne. I know you've just spoken about them, but we don't know. And they're going to provide something that has to be different and will be different. And, there's talent all across the list.
Tuned into TV last night and just watched a bit of footy, and I just noticed that Dean Cox has been massive on team defence, and they got slaughtered in the grand final with uncontested marks at 142 or something uncontested marks, which is crazy. Like, just go through the stats if you want to have a look at how bad that is. But they're clearly trying to tighten that up and trying to get more forward half turnovers. So I'm going to have all my eyes on how good Sydney's defence, because they have a lot of good players and a lot of role players, and they might be, we know they're a good team. If they have this team defence element plus that offence just remains, we know they've got, McCartan's now playing forward. He's got great jukes. There's going to be something different there. But
has he played forward before?
No, I don't think he has. So not in AFL. He's mainly been like full back.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's not that easy to play.
It's
but
easy to go the other way.
Yeah. But, you do see like a Finlayson, for example. He went forward and he was very Norton. Yeah. Like these guys, they can do it. Yeah, okay. But it's just they're the changes that's one. Mm-hmm. The other one's the Gold Coast Suns. I just reckon they're very good in the contest. You see Rao, you see Anderson, you see Miller. They're very good in the contest. I think Sam Collins is a great defender. Let's see if they can just do that all across the field. I reckon their game plan with Dimmer has now had enough time for it to come, to fruition, and let us see it on TV.
Anyone it was your question, but.
No, I'm interested, and I think Freo as well, with that space at the back. And you talk about a style, even I watched the Western Bulldogs play, and Darcy and Norton were way up the ground. So there was a lot of space at the back. And that slingshot footy, does it. It's against the uncontested mark, slowing it, defending well. It's creating space and chaos. And I think games are going to be won and lost with chaos, with balls that are just in space and your ability to score. Because I think teams are just drilling down on defence. You talk about Dean Cox saying it. Coaches continually talk about team defence. I think games will be bottled up, but it's those teams that can introduce chaos somehow, whether it is the run and gun in Richmond of old or the space created by having all the players up the ground. I think there will be a sort of template of how to score against teams that are trying to defend the ground really tight.
There's probably one more, and it's the extension to Hawthorn's game now that they've got Battle and Barras, right? Yep. You know how like crazy they were on turnover. I wonder if we see another couple of layers, because if it is, then it's going to be scary. And we'll get into them in a second. In fact, guess what, boys? We're going to get into it right now. It's opening round, and I love your initiative there, Wal. But before we get into the game, one question for you both. Should we keep opening round?
I'll tell you where you can shove it.
Oh, no.
Into round one. Just no practice matches, into round one, level playing field, have the club speak and say, right, we want an extra 20 rotations. Perfect. Everyone gets an extra 20 rotations for the first round. If you get injured in the first round and you do a calf, you don't care. Mm-hmm. It's not ideal, but it's at least a game played for something.
And clubs can, I agree with you off the top, but clubs can go and organise a practice match with another team in February if they like it, but no scheduled AFL preseason game.
Even that,
Yeah, I think it's just a chance to get your best side against another best side.
Yeah, no,
because
but that's what the preseason game.
Yeah, but well, no, I know, but I still think there should be an opportunity. It's not like you can't.
So it's a hard no on opening round.
No.
Yeah, do you have any idea about how to grow the game?
Oh, righto, Tom.
No, but I'm saying, do you know why they do it?
We'll take it to Vegas.
Will that help sign up people in Queensland and New South Wales?
I understand why you're doing it, but again, the NRL is back, so you get a runway of a little bit of time. I get why the people up there are excited, and that is the growth and the expansion and what that is to do. But every person down here goes, oh, well, give me Thursday next week, Carlton Richmond. That's the opening of the season in a lot of people's eyes.
We spoke about State of Origin last week. You talk about growing the game. If you had the State of Origin in Queensland and Gold Coast.
I just can't see State of Origin working. Why would someone, like if you're a club, right, the players aren't even fit. We know, like they aren't. They're not ready to go round one. Like they're fit, but they're not. They're not match. Let's be honest. Getting the cobwebs out round one. Round 12 is when you're flying. And as if a player is going back with a flight in round zero, before round zero, when he's got the season. But if we want it to be like, if we reference NRL, that's their biggest 3 games of the year. I just can't see how State of Origin personally would work.
Yep, that's fair.
Before the season, when you've got your leaders that need to stand up for the whole, like it's not, AFL ain't easy playing a whole year. You need them ready to go.
What about with your opening round? Why don't you have the Q Clash and the Battle of the Bridge? So
because they want teams like Collingwood to fill the stadium.
But they played GWS last year, opening round. There was about 15 people there at NG Stadium.
They packed it.
I was commentating. It was 3/4 empty.
It was pumping.
Last year gathering at the first round.
I'm pretty sure Collingwood packed it out.
Daisy and I are pretty black and white. We're pretty black and white about no opening round. Are you the opposite?
I think they need to grow the game, and it's the only place in Australia that we don't have fans. So you need to give them a bit of love.
Coast.
And they don't. And I was after hearing, especially Toby's point as well, because they live in Sydney.
What was his
Victorian teams don't travel much, so it's actually fair to have the Victorian teams get on a bird and get up there and play away a few times. And considering it is opening round, you still get round 1. Nothing changes. You still get the crowds don't change next week.
I'm going to find these crowds here.
Typical Victorians. I like to sit on the fence with this stuff and just, throw some stuff around. But it is important that they do get a bit of love, those teams, if they're going to, expand the competition.
Mate, you stand firm. I applaud you for standing firm on that. And like you said, if it's about growing the game, well, then that's a different topic. But from a pure nostalgia point of view of a footy follower, round 1 should be round 1. Yeah. And the build up to round 1 should be a Thursday night Carlton Richmond, in my eyes.
It's like when you see a basketballer with the jersey 0, you go, come on, mate, just put a number on it.
Take your head off.
I'll tell you what isn't working, me trying to figure out this. Who'd they play, Collingwood?
I forgot to mention, boys, but you look slick. The fresh do for the Aces AFL show, I see. Slick salad.
Yeah, went to a barber around the corner.
21,000 they got at NG Stadium round 1.
And that'd be their record, besides a final. That'd be a record.
I can probably
have a look at
that too if I keep pressing.
We'll get our friends at StatMate to check that one.
Yeah, good people. Good people.
Anyway, all right, it's time to get into opening round. It is going to be Sydney hosting the Hawks at the SCG Friday night. Daisy will be commentating, the number 2 commentator in the country, next to our man Bruce McInerney. I thought you'd like that one, boys. It's going to be at 7:40 Australian Eastern Standard Time. There'll be no Goulden. We spoke about last time being a low-scoring affair. I'll start with you, Daisy. Do we think that'll happen again?
I do, yeah. And obviously there's some weather around as well. The game last year was between Sydney and Melbourne that kicked it off, and that was a nice night for footy, but it was that humid Sydney condition, which ended up being like a wet weather game. The scores were indicative of that. The under-over goes up here at 168.5. That Melbourne game that I speak of there last year was total points of 150, Sydney taking on the D's. So there's 3.5 goals extra you're given there. And you think of the final between the Hawks and the Dogs, which is also wet. Total points in that were 161, even though Hawthorn kicked 90 of them. So the weather, both sides, humidity, climate, round 1, I think that's a pretty good look there at the under-over in terms of who's winning.
The bookies have got it dead even.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I saw $1.90 each way, so they're saying it's going to come down to the last kick.
A line of a point and a half either way, whatever it is. So wet conditions, I'll probably lean towards Sydney just because they're more, I'd say, accustomed to that. The Hawks are Hollywood Hawthorn that maybe flicking it around a bit, but wouldn't surprise. A draw wouldn't surprise, or a 10-goal victory either way wouldn't surprise.
Well,
great research there, by the way. Hawthorn, I'm going with. I think they're run and gun, the pressure on the ball, their slick hands. It is going to be tight. There's a few. We talk about Goulden, but we talk about the changes in structure, throwing McCartan forward. I think Sydney will take a bit to settle within the game, and by that, with the low scoring, I just don't reckon they'll ever kick a big enough score. So Hawthorn, with the pressure, their small forwards will play a big role in applying that scoreboard pressure, and I reckon they'll run away. Yeah, within a goal, I reckon.
It's a huge game for both clubs. Like I think it's a perfect game to start, just because everyone wants to see how Sydney respond from, grand final day, and then the Hawks. Have they been overhyped? Have they? They've been drinking their own bathwater, and that's where everyone's going to get if Hawks come out and win by 40 points, it's going to be going, well, they're the favourite. They're almost the flag favourites just because of all the hype they've already had. I think it's just a big game, this.
You could see that happening.
I certainly can't see 45. I could see 25.
Yeah, but also you could easily see Sydney clamp them and put it away to 4 or 5 goals.
They're pretty healthy, the Hawks.
Well, there's actually there's a documentary getting released tonight about their pre-season for all you Hawks supporters, even AFL supporters out there.
That's on Channel 7.
It is on Channel 7.
Make sure if it wasn't, I was going to club you.
Yeah.
No, but it takes a deep dive into their pre-season,
which is elite, like Hard Knocks type style on 7+. I'd imagine. So tune into that. That's awesome.
I don't know. You might learn a thing or two. And again, if they've whether they're all talk or not, if they committed to some things about playing a certain way or picking up for each other or playing, in big games and playing well. Well, what a better occasion to live that and see it through.
Just on those documentaries in the NFL, whoever has them preseason normally doesn't play well. They never win. So let's see if they Hard Knocks. No one's ever won the Super Bowl when they've been filmed in preseason. So it's a little cheeky one for you.
You're looking for other markets in that one, the goal scorer markets. That wet night I spoke of, the Hawks final. The Wizard kicked 4. Cal Shadir had 7 shots on, 3 goals, 4 he had that night.
Yeah. So we get on the Wizard.
The Wiz or Kelsha, if he's playing.
I love it. All right, before we get into it and move on to the next game, but just anything else in terms of pre-season form, positional changes, matchups, anything else that's coming out of this one with the, I think we just spoke about McCartan's now playing forward. Does he stay forward? Sometimes you don't know what these coaches are going to do because they might require him back, but he has been playing forward. That could be something
You've got to give him a couple of weeks. Talk about knocking a man's confidence around. If it's halfway through the third quarter and he hasn't really had too much influence in the game, the worst thing you could do was pull him because you sort of throw that ticket out. Yeah. No,
Jesus, it's a lonely place to be hung out.
It is.
You're not going to touch the thing if you're not.
If they're down, though, they might get – at half time, it could be –
He'd be the swing man, though, wouldn't he? Like, late in the quarter, if you need to slow it up or slow it right down, he'd be swinging back. He'll get his touches and his influence. But I reckon if you're doing something that's so profound about moving a pillar from forward to back or back to forward, give it time. You've got to give it time. And if it doesn't work one week, you've got to give it another week, I reckon.
He's got a tough matchup. Big Barras, he's going to be ready to go. You don't go to a new club and not want to just dominate that first game. I'm leaning Hawthorn, boys. I really am. I think with the Goulden run on the outside, I know they've got the home ground advantage, but I think Hawthorn can match them in the contest. I think they've got enough role players and
you mean the Goulden run not being there?
Yeah, the fact he's not there, they can then take out a Warner or a Heaney.
Yeah,
and then it's like their whole game plan. I think
because he run when you talk of and you look at patterns of wingers now. It's like fat side, then you slide behind. He does whatever he wants.
Yeah,
he's the hardest player to play on because he goes back, he joins in on offense and defense, he gets his 3 or 4, and then because he can kick it so well, he slice and dice and can then get to his position. So it's not just a spot where you go, hey, knackers, fill her in.
What about his request, I don't need to come off?
Yeah.
That's how fit he is.
That's how fit he is. He goes, no, I'll back myself in. Like that confidence, you can't buy that confidence.
He played 85 games straight until this point as well.
I love that.
Integral part.
Well, let's go to our friends at StatMate for some juicy data on the game. Are you ready, lads?
Yep.
Swans v Hawks. Our friends at StatMate have said that Papley has kicked 2+ goals in 8 of his last 10 at the SCG, and we can currently get 2.15 with our friends at PointsBet.
2.15 for 2 or more.
It might be a watch on his roll, but here's another one. Jake Lloyd's record versus the Hawks is nuts. He averages 27 disposals in his last 6 matches against the Hawks, and he's currently $1.85 for 20.
Wow. That's still value at 15 or more.
He kicks in. He kicks in, so... That's it.
And then the last one, I've got a bit of value here, but Jai Newcomb finished last year on a heater. He covered 30+ disposals in all of his 4 matches, and he's currently $4 with PointsBet. So there you go. Our friends at StatMate, they have provided some cheeky little nuggets for us. We follow
wet
them
and slippery. Jai Newcomb.
Yep.
Head in trough. That is a pig in
very underrated as well. I reckon John Newcomb.
Yeah, he still is. He best and fairest winner last year at the Hawks.
I don't think he won't be underrated after this season though. He'll be in the top 10 of the brand though.
And at PointsBet, place a head-to-head bet on the game, and if your team scores the first goal, you win. That's right. First snag, get paid out early as a winner. See your account for the personalised max stake limit. Full T's and C's apply. But as I said, boys, place a head-to-head bet on the game, and if your team scores the first goal, you win. So First 5 minutes could be exciting.
And your bet still stands.
Head-to-head bet. You say you bet on Hawthorn.
Sydney kicked the first goal.
No,
and me Hawks bet still.
Then it stands.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I missed. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're still in the game. Yeah, it's just a little cheeky one to just go bang. So how good's that? So check that one out. As I said, full T's and C's apply. Now it's time for my boys hosting your boys. This is good. I normally want to have a wager on this, but the Coleman's just done the thumb on the old Murray Charter. So I'm a bit nervous there, Daisy. But it's the Giants hosting the Pies at NG Stadium. No doubt there'll be 21,000 plus at their Sunday Arvo 320 Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Doing our bit, 21,000, 1,000 GWS fans.
Giant names missing. Hogan, Green, Stringer, and for the Pies, DeGoey will be out. Preseason form, we know that the Pies have been pretty strong, 1-1, Giants 0-2. You could say that they would be a little bit of a loser in preseason, but I reckon we've got the trust there from last year's form to give them another chance. Matchups in this game, what are you looking forward to most, Wal?
Look, I loved seeing Nick Dacos at the peak of his powers in that Richmond preseason game. So I'm going to tip Collingwood to win. I just think they're going to overpower them through the midfield. They've got Membry playing down forward now. I reckon he's going to be the highest goal scorer. I'm not sure what that he's playing, but he'll kick 2 goals plus. GWS, there's too many key players for them out. Hogan, Green and Stringer, we don't know what kind of role he'll play in their side, but I know he takes a good defender and puts the opposition off balance. So I reckon Collingwood are going to win. They're going to win comfortably because I reckon they're in for a big year.
I've got to retract, I think, here. I'm going through, I think I found it. They'd be called the showgrounds on the AFL tables.
You'd imagine so.
Crowd, 21,235 is what I said for the opening round.
Yep.
I can only find one other one in the 20s, and that was in 2018 against the Swans. So I tell you what's working. Grow on the bloody ground, the game. Opening round, I tell you, this is a good idea if you want. Get the Pies and the Giants to open the season and opening round at some stage. Do you like it?
I love it.
Maybe Brisbane against the Cats, Gold Coast against Essendon maybe, and then maybe one more like in Sydney, the Swans and the Hawks.
Where did you go?
I'll tell you what, give me a call, the AFL.
Start, they're going to call you the commish. I'll get you to Rock Walt's kid next week and we'll be ready to go.
That is interesting.
So you stand corrected. It was a record crowd and I actually just made that up, so I'm pretty happy with myself. I thought that's how you grow the game. You've got to water it, mate. You've got to water it.
Who was doing the old counting at a fork.
A couple of dogs might have got into NG that night.
Correct. Big game though. The Pies, they need to start well. There's no doubting that. From what they didn't do last year, was it a letdown? They didn't play finals after winning the flag.
They had a heap of injuries up forward.
Heap of injuries and then only missed by a percentage in the end. Excited to see what the 3 boys up forward do, the Triple M, Myercheck. You've got Mick Stay there as well and also Membry who's come across.
Triple M's nice.
Thank you. Yeah, it worked out well
good
too.
Cross promotion there.
Yeah, thank you. So Geordie DeGoey is the only one who provides a real point of difference. I'm excited about what the Pies are going to do this year. I think they've got a nice little reboot and they'll be good.
Yep.
Pumped on both sides again. Not really sure. Not really sure which way to tip. I'll lean with the Pies purely because their supporters will be up there inflating the numbers of the crowd.
I'll be up there as well, Daisy.
Are you going?
I'm going. I'm going to be with our boys from KPI Construction. I think Swanee's going to be in the box as well. Rama and Callett and all the boys will be cheering on the Giants.
The Giants? You won't be cheering on in that room. You get thrown out the window. He's over there with a traffic cone.
I'll get a stop sign across there.
Who's going to win?
I'm going to stick with my boys. I can't write them off after last year. They need to turn up. Like what I've seen so far in the preseason, though, is panic stations as a fan because you get a bit more emotional. But they have enough there with their pressure to apply. And I think blokes like Bedford, you got to think they're going to go to Dacos. I mean, he was so good at tagging. So how do the Pies manage that? They probably know that's coming. That's a massive one. If you can shut Dacos down or limit his kicking, like if he's handballing the ball and he's chipping it, he's not breaking lines, that's big.
And do you throw him back if it's hurting the team too much?
I'd play him off half back because that's a really tough position. And then you can then go play forward, play back, really stuff their structure up. That's really hard to stop from team defence when a player is just roaming around and kicking his players out. So that's going to be one to watch. I'm looking forward to watching the Maynard Green matchup as well, just because Hogan's out. You've got to think that there's more responsibility on the TFG, and then Cadman. Them two have to stand up because they're the only big, I think, contested, targets that you think can win their matchups. And then the other ones is, the former Giants boys, which is Bobby Hill and now Harry Perryman. You think they're going to be really gearing up for this game. And Bobby Hill lately we know he's won the Norm. He turned it on in the Indigenous All-Stars games. He is a freak. It wouldn't surprise me if he kicks 4.
Are you worried? Like you touched on the GWS form in the preseason. Are you worried? Because from a numbers point of view, that Carlton game was very similar, like across all areas except one, and the one that's most important, the scoreboard. Disposals very close. Inside 50s was 1 or 2 apart. I'm
confident that they can pick their pressure up. Right. And they were lacking that. And if you pick that up and you put your main players in their positions and, as I said, you roll. I mean, no one's tagging in preseason. The key defenders.
Got tagged in preseason.
Yeah, but you're a superstar, Days. You're going to get the blonde locks and just kicking sausages from the boundary line. You need to tag. Well, you're probably playing full forward pocket, so you got to get tagged every week.
As a back pocket defender.
But I'm just looking. I think Giants defense is where you can say, well, I reckon I'd back them in. I mean, you tell me, Giants defense or Collingwood forward line?
Right now, Collingwood forward line.
Really?
Yeah.
Sam Taylor, Jack Buckley, Connor Arden. You got Whitfield off the halfback, Lockie. I mean, it's an amazing halfback and fullback.
Bobby Hill.
But Connor Arden's someone that could probably – Connor Arden knows him better than anyone in the comp because they come through the system together. I reckon it's not a bad matchup.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing because you can happily say Giants, I'll happily say Pies, and up the other and you can have the same discussion.
So where's it going to be won though? Where will this game be won? You talk about the arm wrestle.
I think that contested nut. Without Tom Green, someone has to get the contested nut for the Giants. And I don't think anyone –
And who is that?
Yeah, that's like
Josh Kelly, get him in there?
Yeah, Josh Kelly, Finn. Who else we got in there?
That wasn't fit for laughter. I was genuinely so. He plays all right.
No, he does.
When he gets midfield minutes.
It's going to be a great game. But the bookies, I tell you what, the late mail, the Pies have been smashed. I think they were into $1.60 and they weren't even favourites about 4 days ago. So the bookies have, rearranged the odds and looks like the Pies are the favourites.
Okay.
Well, boys, do you want some more StatMate gold?
I'd love them. Do you want to hear those stats comparatively, GWS and Carlton?
Yeah, I'd love to know where. Because that's a great
So it was GWS 9 goals, 12, 21 shots on. Carlton 18 goals, 16, 34 shots on goal. Disposals, GWS 355. The Blues had 1 more, 356. Disposal efficiency, even at 72%. Inside 50s, GWS had 2 more than Carlton.
That's bizarre numbers, man.
That is. Contested possession, Giants lost by 8. Uncontested possession, they won by 2. 1 less mark inside 50. Tackles were even and 3 less tackles inside 50. So that you'd look at that and go, oh, what was the margin there? A goal or 2 either way. Not a 60-point flogging.
Yeah, crazy. That's actually crazy. And I think you can take confidence out of that a little bit.
Yeah.
Knowing the numbers aren't like, it's like, boys, we've lost contested ball minus 20.
Are you saying positives out of that from the Giants?
Well, I think so. If you're you can't say that if your categories are even, it means something's going okay. Yeah, but that means there's something they can easily identify, I reckon, in a review.
That's a more positive outlook than I was taking.
If your tackle numbers and contested ball numbers and kicks against
it was turnover. Was that a
I don't know. I haven't reviewed the game. No. But I just think if the numbers are even, traditionally something's easy to identify. If you're down in all categories, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, of course.
That's harder to fix. Anyway, I'm passionate about the Giants. I'll be looking at
you need to jump on the Freo bandwagon too.
I'm on them. Don't worry about that.
Double see which one got the ladder first. Well, that's me. Yeah.
After we get
the blue Pies.
Unfortunately for a while, the dogs have been in the bottom.
Yeah. Watch this space.
Righto, back to our friends at StatMate. Here we go. Giants v Pies. Toby Green has kicked 2 goals in 4 straight matches at Giants Stadium. It's now called NG Stadium, and it is $1.75 with PointsBet. That is pretty juicy for one of the game's best, ranked 13 on your man Corn's list. And Bo McCreary has kicked a goal every time he's faced the Giants, 5 from 5 going back to 21. And he is also $1.75 with our friends here at PointsBet. That's pretty juicy odds for one.
Can we get on StatMate? Is it in the App Store?
Yeah, we certainly can. And the way to get on to StatMate is quite simple, great man. All you have to do is head online. It's easy to use. It's free. Both AFL and NRL player stats are there. It's available in the App Store. They're currently working on Android, but if you've got an Android, I personally think there's something not well with you. Download that app right there. And as we said, it's your new best mate when it comes to building your multi, I believe. You don't have, you've had a few beers. You don't have time. Get on to StatMate and just check it out. And there's one more from our friends here, but at StatMate.
Does an Android have maps? So you can put in the Apple Store and go and upgrade.
Say that again. Oh, very good. Josh Kelly averaging 28.2 disposals per game in his last 5 versus the Pies.
Put him in the gut.
He's also played 4 matches in 23 when Tom Green was injured and racked up 41, 28, 28 and 25. He's currently $1.75 for 25 and could be a good one for your same game multis.
There you go. And a goal. Put a goal in there.
So
Haven't studied the goal, but we're greedy, so we'll chuck it in.
That's nice, though. That's nice when the stat backs up your feeling, you know?
Yeah, it is very good.
Coach
It's very
Thanks,
good,
Stat, mate.
We've also got our custom markets up on the PointsBet app, so I've currently got my one up and your one's up as well. So check it out, and they're futures, so get on them. We'll have our little best bet for the week as well, opening round, our best bet AFL Aces show. Check it out, Aces AFL show. Geez, that's a tongue twister. Boys, it's time. There's been a lot of bloody prep doing this, and there's been a lot of excitement. Name the game. We've had thousands of people write in on the stories, which makes it even harder to pick the name. And we've finally got a name. It is time to reveal probably our favourite segment for the year. We can't wait for this one, but it's time to reveal the game. So we can get a little drum roll, please, gentlemen. A little drum roll. Here it is. Here we go. And it is called the Profit Propeller right here. Here we go.
Wow, what a build-up. The Profit Propeller. You couldn't get American Aces AFL show out there. You go with the Profit. So P-R-O-P-H-I-T is in like...
That is correct. And that means someone who can foretell the future.
What is it?
P-R-O-P-H.
Oh, that's a clanger if I've ever seen one. There's 2-1.
No, but talk us through the profit, the meaning of the profit.
That's your job, Muskie.
Yeah.
But the meaning is someone who can foretell the future. Yeah. And that's what we're going to need to do with Victorian people over 18 plus that apply via the form on our social media there at American Aces. Hit the link tree and get the application forms in right now. You need to get your president to fill that puppy out and send it to us so we can put 14 on the Propeller next week. But the Profit Propeller will be in full flight.
E-T. Seeing the future.
Yeah.
I like this. I like it.
This makes sense.
Yeah.
Hawthorn.
And you get
7 points.
Hawthorn,
keep going.
5 points.
Keep going.
Oh, who else is playing?
Collingwood Giants.
Collingwood.
We've lost the boys. Bring it back.
I just can't see the fucking games.
Must be the crowd too big in your way.
Collingwood, 24 points.
This is exciting. Mate. This is going to start next week, boys. So you really need to get your heads in a gear because we need to pick.
So I go on the American Aces
Instagram, yep. So on the link tree right now, as we speak right now, I made sure that it was live. So if you head to the Instagram, hit the link tree, and there's a form you need to fill out. You need to be a Victorian, resident, and you need to be 18 plus. Submit your local football and netball club in. Fill out the form. Terms and conditions apply. And next week, we will be kicking this off. And as you know, we need to put 14 football netball clubs up on the Propeller. And then we give it a big spin. And I've just got breaking news that we have our man, Benny the Butler, who's going to be in town.
Oh. That's not a yacht.
No, that's not a boat.
Oh, here he is.
Get it right.
Oh, look at me and my dad's cash.
Benny the Butler is going to spin the first ever Propeller. The Profit Propeller.
Break it down again, though. So there's 3 of us that put a bet on, us 3.
We'll have to pick a leg over $2 each, and so will the president of the football club that the Propeller lands on. And it'll be submitted. There's obviously, if you look at the terms and conditions, everything's in there. But once we have that, we'll get a graphic and we'll have $1,000 on it. And all the money, if we get 4 ticks, all the money will go to that local football or netball club.
2, 2, 2 and the Prezi 2. So 2, 4, 8, 16.
Yeah.
As a minimum, take away the 1,000 put in from the good friends at PointsBet.
Probably looking at 15.
15K as a minimum.
Wow. Change your life, that.
It could change your life.
Look at the smugness of 15 grand. Uses that shit to pick up your dog shit. Benny, more cash, please.
So it's.
I don't go back there. I don't want to lie.
Can we see that? Is the propeller being well? Can you see that on camera nicely? Yeah, beautiful.
No.
I'm making sure we can get that in the camera there. But that's exciting, lads. The Profit Propeller.
Can you give it a spin? I've got a feeling. Green. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, colourblind. Everyone's a winner.
Actually, that's bad acting by me. I should have run with the listeners. The listeners would have known that. How excited are you for it, boys?
I'm pumped. That is one of the great things. And obviously, footy clubs, you love to get involved in any way in raising money for anyway. It doesn't have to go to a footy trip, obviously, whatever way you want to spend it. But it's a nice Kickstarter if you can pick up 15 zingers at any stage throughout the season.
Well, if you put John Newcombe in at $4, courtesy of Statmate, if you want to dare to dream, it could be 50.
I just can't wait to see one of us let the team down.
I just
hope it's not me first.
Oh, no.
The president letting the side down.
Oh, jeez,
but Tommy, we'll deliver it to the cash.
100%. It's in Victoria. So
Benny will do that too.
We'll get Benny to Butler to
Benny will drive
the cash with us. No doubt if you drop it off, what kind of car are we talking?
Bugatti.
Just have to go to Daddy's garage, I guess.
Oh, very good. Well, boys, I think we've just nailed the show. It's bloody pumped. Finally, footy's back. Thanks so much to everyone that's tuned in. This is big. Like we said, PointsBet have custom markets for us with American Aces. We're going to have our weekly bets up there and our specials, so check that out. But there's one more thing, the housekeeping, and we spoke about this before, boys, in the green room, but our comments on YouTube, we want everyone to go on YouTube and give us feedback on that platform. So if they're loving the show, even if they're listening to it, we'd love you to get on YouTube in the comments and just feed in what you're loving. You might have an idea for the show. You might give us some positive feedback. You might say something that you disagree with. We love it.
Negative, bash it up your ass and don't leave it. I don't want to hear negative, positive only.
What if it's for Wall and me?
As negative as you want.
Exactly right. We want it all. Bring all the smoke.
What about
in the
something
YouTube
Bruce McAninny?
And my man Bruce McAninny up there in the Gold Coast. Geez, that was an absolute clanger. That's good stuff there, boys. But like I said, we really want feedback. And I think having it all on YouTube is the best place. We can see all your comments weekly and we'll make this show even better. Application form is live. The Profit Propeller. As I said, enter your Victorian local football and netball clubs now for your chance to be on the Propeller next week, 18 plus and Vic only. Gentlemen, that's all I've got this week. I'm excited
let's look forward to next week where we can actually talk about something that means something. Like there's a win, there's a loss, like all this stuff that's a precursor to anything actual. We can park it and now we can talk about, what's actually happening. Kicking off the season.
Did you understand that?
Yeah, I did. He's talking about the review. He wants to just talk about something big.
That means I want a ladder to look at and go,
throw
that's
out
happening.
a real Hail Mary. What are we going to be talking about next week?
Who's going to be on the bottom of the ladder?
Rich? No.
They're not even playing.
With the bye.
Yeah.
But let's, have a good week, gents. I look forward to seeing your faces next. Actually, I won't be here next week.
Well, you might be.
You might be.
I might be here next week.
That was dark.
That was very dark.
That was dark.
No, fingers crossed that all goes ahead and everything else.
Daisy, we might be flicking the propeller on our own.
Love nothing more.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week right here on American Aces with the Aces AFL show. Take care.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.